heshima, naomba sote tumkaribishe Mheshimiwa Rais hapa uwanjani akiongozwa na bendi yetu ya Maroon Commandos. Karibu Mheshimiwa Rais.
Ni furaha iliyoje taifa la Kenya tunapoadhimisha makala ya 60 tukidhamini vijana wetu, uchumi bunifu, mambo na hoi hoi. Karibu Mheshimiwa Rais.
Kwa makofi. Happy Jamhuri Day. Karibu Mheshimiwa Rais.
Tupate na ustawi. Jumuiya yetu sote tulinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike.
President, founded by the Kenya Defense Forces, President
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Almighty, ever-living God, source of all blessings,
kubariki na swala la dua kwa bendera hizi za kikosi cha 25. Kumkabidhi afisa atakayebeba bendera iliyo fahari ya kikosi cha 25 na kuhakikisha kwamba afisa huyo ameshika bendera hiyo vyema na kuweza kupeana heshima yake kwa bendera hii. Alizotukabidhi Mheshimiwa Rais muda mfupi uliokamilika siku hii ya leo kwa sherehe za 60 za Jamhuri. heshima, naomba sote tusimame kwa wimbo wa taifa.
Asanteni sana.
bendera ya kikosi sharti kuwa mbele kama tunavyosubiri sasa kutoka kwa kala kosa vile waligawanya takriban. Misheni ya kwanza jeshi letu la nchi kavu chini yake Meja Morris Matundura Masese akisaidiana na Captain Eka Sadaka Asiago waliotwikwa jukumu la kubeba bendera zilizo fahari ya kikosi cha 25 ni Luteni Mark Manyara Mwita wakiwa katika mavazi yao ya samawati na yaliyo mavazi rasmi ya sherehe.
Kubeba bendera hizi Luteni Lennox Kitonga Njeru na Luteni Mark Mwita Manyara wakishirikiana naye Luteni Milton Maisori Magacha. Divisheni ya pili chini wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Kikundi kinachofuata Mheshimiwa Rais, jeshi letu akishirikiana naye Captain Wekesa Webuha wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe.
Stand before God this day and ask His blessings upon these colors and standards, and pray that they may be an abiding symbol of our duty towards our President and towards our country, and a sign of our resolve to guard, preserve, and sustain the great tradition of bravery
Pray that as they receive these colors, you may be their constant companion, strengthen and grant them resilience during all their operations in peace and wartime. Guide them with wisdom, sense of responsibility and loyalty to the President and their commanders. Protect them as they discharge their duties and grant them victory over their enemies and bring them back home safely. Amen.
Hivi sasa maafisa wa cheo cha meja, maafisa wa cheo cha luteni waliotwikwa jukumu la kubeba bendera hizi wakijiandaa kuweza kupokea bendera hizi kutoka kwake Mheshimiwa Rais.
Your Excellency, I now kindly request you to officially present the 25 Mechanized Infantry Battalion with presidential and regimental colors. Your Excellency.
Hivi sasa maafisa wa cheo cha meja wakiweza kuchukua bendera hizi tayari kumkabidhi Mheshimiwa Rais ili aweze kuwapokeza maafisa watakaobeba bendera hizi. Maafisa hawa wa cheo cha Mheshimiwa Rais sasa akiweza kumkabidhi maafisa wa kikosi cha 25 fahari ya kikosi cha 25 na kuhakikisha kwamba afisa huyu ameshika bendera hiyo vyema na kuweza kupeana heshima yake kwa bendera hii. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais kwa kuweza kutukabidhi
lazima uwe na form, piga mishe utameki odoko champion.
Naishi natumaini, najitolea daima Kenya, hakika ya bendera ni uthabiti wangu, nyeusi ya wananchi na nyekundu ni ya damu, kijani ni ya ardhi, nyeupe ya amani. Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo.
Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Kenya yetu yaenda mbele.
Wenzangu, Kenya kipenzi.
hatuwezi tukamsahau hapa basi bila shaka pale mzee Ojwanga kwenye kipindi Vitimbi. Mzee Ojwang bishi na Mungu na akamuweke pahali pema peponi. Ala, baadaye hapo bishi ndipo kuweza kuchomoka kipindi cha Vionja Mahakamani. Shasha
Makwa, leo ni siku ya Jamhuri bwana, national holiday. Alafu navaa nguo ni kama imetoka kwa mdomo ya ng'ombe. Kukuja kujana. Ndio kujana kikabali.
Wewe uoni mimi ni Mkenya bwana, uoni nimevaa mpaka tai ya Kenya. I'm more than patriotic than you.
Ninakubali my brother.
What do you mean?
Happy Jamhuri Day.
Kabisa.
Kati mzuri bwana.
Asanta.
Mtukufu Rais, kama vile umesikia, mimi ni mjane, niko single, niko vacant, yani sina mutu. Mtukufu Rais, uko na marafiki zako ambao wako single kama mimi, hata kwa cabinet uko nao. Mtukufu Rais, unikumbuke Baba, unapowazuru wengine naomba unikumbuke.
Barabara. Na hapo hatimaye bishi ndipo kuweza kukuingilia kipindi ambacho kinajulikana kama vile Mother in Law. Na kwa hichi kipindi tunakuja kupata madam fulani ambaye anakuaga mkali zaidi, ikafanya hadi watu wakamuita dictator.
No. I am not dictatorial. I am a disciplinarian. And by the way, I am a born again Christian.
Asanta. Mchungaji.
I have just landed. Your Excellency the President, this is your captain speaking. My name is Captain Otosh. Kenya is flying at 60. We are 60 years old today. What? Si tumeseeka mpaka inchi zingine sinakuja hapa kuona vile inchi mzee inakaa. But old is gold.
Asante Yesu. Asante mwana. Mutumishi. Mchungaji. Papa unichase roho niweze kumushinda shetani. Papa unichase roho niweze kumushinda shetani. Timu ya mpira ikiitwa Liverpool, nikani itaitwa matumbo pulu. Mwenyezi Mungu bariki rais.
Barabara.
Bonjour Président, Excellency, comme j'aime Papa Fred, minga fa business legit Nairobi na international. Nguo kemikali yangu special. Kama ngapata pesa kidogo, minga mwaya ili kemikali ndani ya pesa, tapata pesa bingi. Singalipa deni IMF, ngalipa deni World Bank. Kama pesa ngabaki, singagawana Kenya mzima, kila mtu 2 million. Wewe kama ngapenda idea, piga telefone yangu. Tufanye business legit baba.
Kenya at 60. Mwisho. Kubishini wako man.
Mheshimiwa Rais, nizamu ya bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi hivi sasa
Spartan ikiwa na rangi ya kijivu, zikiwa ni ndege za uchukuzi zilizo na uwezo wa kubeba makundi makubwa ya askari na zana nzito za kijeshi, pusha moshi mweupe angani, ishara kwamba anga letu liko salama, zikiwa ni ndege za mafunzo kiwango cha juu kwa marubani wetu ambao hujifunza hapa nyumbani. Mheshimiwa Rais, hivi sasa zinaweza kupita mbele yako, na sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, ndege zetu za kivita the Tiger F5 zikiweza kumfumuka katika mfumo huo wa Diamond ili kuweza kutuletea maonyesho ya manuva hapa angani moja baada ya nyingine, kama jinsi anavyoinua ndege hii kwa umaridadi na kutupa mizunguko ya kushoto. Tumpe makofi rubani huyo tafadhali. Akisha kuwa tayari kuinua pua la ndege kupaa juu kabisa na kutupa mizunguko ya kushoto kama vile tunavyoshuhudia hivi sasa. Kupaa ndege ikiwa wima, uweza kufika katika upeo wa kupaa, kulala chali na kurudi mahali ambapo imetoka. Tuwape makofi marubani wetu tafadhali kwa ujuzi mkubwa walio nao muda mrefu, ili kuweza kuwapa nafasi majeshi wetu kuweza kufanya operesheni mbalimbali. Leo hii ikiwa inabeba bango linalosema Jamhuri at 60. Tumpe makofi tafadhali rubani wetu wa ndege aina ya 139 Agusta, na ndege ya jeshi letu la wanahewa. ndege hii leo hii ikiwa inabeba bango linalosema God bless Kenya. Tumpe rubani huyo makofi tafadhali. Kwa jumla niweze kushukuru rubani ambaye ameweza kuongoza maonyesho haya
mwaka huu kwa sababu ya Green Army. Hawa mavijana wetu ambao kila eneo la Nairobi wanafungua mitaro, wanasafisha drainage. Hakuja kuwa na flooding Nairobi, and despite El Nino, we thank God and we thank these young people for what they've done. Kwa sasa, kwa sababu El Nino imeisha ama inaenda kuisha, kazi yao itakuwa kupanda maua, kupanda miti, kusafisha Nairobi so that we restore the green city under the sun. Your Excellency, you're leading the continent in the Africa climate agenda. And while you were at COP28, the office of the governor of Nairobi was awarded the first green government building in Africa. We are going to take our pole position as the environmental capital of Kenya. Kwa hayo mengi, Your Excellency, changamoto najua ni mengi katika taifa, na sio Kenya tu, mataifa yote. Nairobi pia changamoto ni mengi, lakini Your Excellency, tunajua after you have set a firm foundation of our economy this past year, mambo itaangalia juu. Sisi Nairobi husema hata kama changamoto ni nyingi, lazima iwork. Na tunajua na wewe lazima ina work. Our trials and our triumphs since independence teach us two lessons, Your Excellency. We advance when we set aside our differences and commit ourselves to the common good. We fall behind when we are divided. So the first thing that this new generation of leaders must do is to rededicate ourselves to national unity. One, national unity means inclusion. This new generation must make certain that no one, whatever their race, whatever their religion, whatever their region, whatever their political affiliation, will be denied a say when we make decisions for our country. Every Kenyan deserves to be heard. Number two, national unity means dignity. Your Excellency, each of us as Kenyans deserves honor. Kenya istahili heshima na Wakenya wanastahili kuheshimiwa, no matter what we do. We must respect the dignity of each and every single one of us. Mtukufu Rais, umetuongoza kwa hayo, kwa kupitia mambo ya afya, kwa kupitia mambo ya uchuuzi, kwa kupitia mambo ya kuhakikisha tuko na manyumba, housing, and ensuring that we are a food secure country. As a county government, we are also striving to ensure the dignity of our people, of our traders, of our hawkers, of our business people, wherever they might be. Thirdly, national unity means opportunity. No one from any part of this country will ever again, thanks to devolution, be abandoned to generational poverty and oppression because of their region. This generation of leaders, led by His Excellency William Ruto, must secure the promise of independence by bringing prosperity to those parts of the country, Your Excellency, that had been previously treated unequally in the years after independence. A first-class country cannot have a second-class citizen.
It is a historic moment. We mark 60 years of independence today. We celebrate because our selfless fathers and mothers denied themselves the comfort of their families to birth one huge family, Kenya, a nation we are proud of. It is therefore befitting, Your Excellency, to pay homage to the freedom fighters who, with crude weapons, sheer determination and resolve, defied the advanced arms of the colonialists to deliver a free Kenya. The freedom we gained in 1963 placed us in charge of our destiny, a destiny of freedom from poverty, disease, and illiteracy. Our country has made monumental progress in these fronts. Our beloved President, Dr. William Ruto, is implementing a radical plan, the Kenya Kwanza plan for socio-economic transformation. For instance, in just a year, Your Excellency, you have laid a firm foundation for socio-economic transformation. In October, you put the nation on course to achieving universal health coverage. Under our President's leadership, we are implementing comprehensive educational reforms through the competency-based curriculum, which we have far-reaching positive implications of our country. Your Excellency, the fifth administration is expanding financial inclusion to drive entrepreneurship, besides undertaking fundamental reforms in the public sector, among other interventions. We are leaving no one behind in Kenya. The Kenya we want is the one the President is leaving no one behind, and that is the Kenya we all deserve. Your Excellency, we acknowledge your forward-looking leadership on regional and international matters. This is important because a stable and prosperous Africa means a better Kenya. We recognize the key role of the youth in the rebirth of Africa. This is one of the reasons that the focus of the 60th Jamhuri Day is on youth, the creative economy, and sports.
60 years ago, on a day like this, Kenya took its final step of the freedom struggle to become a sovereign republic. I am delighted to have the privilege of leading our nation in celebrating this milestone in our journey to national independence. According to the vision of our forefathers who fought for this country's freedom, independence was intended to bestow on us the gift of political as well as economic self-determination. This anniversary gives us the opportunity to gather as a family and reflect together on how we have fared over the course of 6 decades. It is clear that we have made undeniable progress on many fronts, and as a result, our nation has come a long way in the right direction. Before that first Jamhuri Day, Kenya's sovereignty was exercised by an unelected foreign and colonial power for the benefit of an occupying minority. We have since matured from a single-party state to a competitive, multi-party democracy and a devolved system of governance with robust checks and balances under the Constitution that was ratified by the people of Kenya in the year 2010. Along with the maturity of our democracy, Kenya's institutions of governance have evolved significantly. Parliament, for example, is now, more than ever, an independent, assertive organ of government with its own calendar and its own budget. As a result of this autonomy, party positions on important national issues are much more clearly defined. And whenever circumstances and the national interest demand, bipartisan engagement across the political divide is pursued in a structured manner. Proposals currently before Parliament on the enhancement of the autonomy of our county assemblies prove that our assemblies at the county level are also making encouraging progress in their maturation into independent watchdogs, policymakers, and representatives of people at our counties. Devolution is growing its roots deeper to connect with the soul and spirit of our nation. We have consistently allocated more resources and made them available on time, and supported measures to further empower county assemblies to become good stewards. Our political culture has also evolved considerably. We are now committed to making sure that at every election, our democratic competition is less about personalities and tribes and more about issues and the national interest. As a result, the last general election, which serves as a very solid beacon of this new direction, reflects the true will and confidence of the people of Kenya in democracy. Without the rule of law, ladies and gentlemen, our democracy falls short of serving us as a people. The judiciary, which is our nation's foremost anchor of the rule of law, continues to grow in its capacity to authoritatively discharge its constitutional mandate and make justice a right of every Kenyan. To provide effective and efficient services to the people, we have enhanced resources available to the judiciary, promoted respect for its independence, and submitted to its authority in order to deepen our credentials as a nation guided by the rule of law. To complete this framework of institutions designed to safeguard and promote constitutionalism and the rule of law, our constitutional commissions and independent offices have evolved to discharge their mandate in accordance with the Constitution and in the most constructive manner in support of good governance. The IEBC, Commission for Revenue Allocation, the Salaries Remuneration Commission, among many, have lived up to their constitutional expectations and Kenyans' aspirations. Today, there is much to celebrate about the strides we have made for the last 6 decades. The democratic credentials of our political culture are solid and our institutional maturity beyond any doubt. 60 years ago, we certainly were far from where we are today. The progress we have made is undeniable. Our peers at that time, nations like South Korea, Singapore, and Malaysia, have similarly made immense progress in democratic and institutional maturity. They have, however, made much more economic progress than we, and as a consequence, they are much more advanced today than we are. The point at which we stand today is the culmination of the collective endeavor of our nation's founding generation and those that came after them. The vision, which inspired their struggle and sacrifice, was one of a united, free, democratic, and economically prosperous nation. They fought for true sovereignty, which envisioned political democracy and economic prosperity. Our forefathers made huge sacrifices to win for Kenya the freedom we celebrate today, and the generations that followed have made their contributions progressively to bring our state, society, and economy to what it is presently. We gather today to express our gratitude, celebrate their legacy, and contemplate our contribution to accelerating future progress. In our democratic and political journey, we have made tremendous sacrifices and progress, from a single party to multi-party, personality and ethnic parochialism to issue-based and national politics, from violence and intolerance discourse to orderly and peaceful elections. However, we have not made as much progress with our economy. Our savings as a percentage of GDP is dismal. The gap between the rich and the poor has not reduced. Many, especially young people, don't have jobs, and our revenues as a percentage of GDP remain low. Our generation must therefore take up the unfinished job of actualizing economic prosperity as our contribution to perfecting Kenya's national sovereignty. We owe this to those who made huge sacrifices to bestow on us a nation of promise. We owe it to one another, to the youth, women, children of Kenya, and to each and every one of us. The responsibility of our generation, beginning with this administration, is to make smart choices and necessary sacrifices, just as our forefathers and those who came after them did. And the choice is to match our economic progress with our democratic and political achievements. This is the assignment we took up on day one, the 13th of September 2022, and which we have been painstakingly undertaking for the past year. Our focus has been firmly about the ways and means to transform our economy, making the right decisions, necessary sacrifices, and smart choices to set Kenya on a path of economic renaissance. This transformation began with all of us, as the people of Kenya, making immense sacrifices and huge contributions together to pull back our country from the brink of debt distress. The greatness and patriotic devotion of the people of Kenya have been on display during the past year. Together, we have made the right choices, sometimes taken very difficult and painful decisions to steer Kenya back from the edge of a catastrophic cliff of debt distress and move our country in a new direction. There is every reason to believe that without serious sacrifices and hard work over the past year, the crises, threats, and challenges in the global economic and geopolitical environment confronting us would have overwhelmed us, as indeed it has many countries. We have had to make our contribution to the struggle for the nation's economic sovereignty. We have had to cut back significantly on expenditure and to defer the implementation of critical development programs to stabilize our economy. The policy measures required to mobilize necessary revenues have been difficult, but they were our only way and means of escape. Though painful, the sacrifices we have made, which would not only make our freedom fighters proud, are also absolutely necessary at a time as this and in situations that we find ourselves, and is the guarantee of our nation's economic stability. Proudly, these sacrifices have paid off. I can now confirm, without fear of any contradiction, that Kenya is safely out of the danger of debt distress and that our economy is on a stable footing. The economic indicators point to good news. Inflation is now 6.8%, down from a high of 9.2% a year ago. In the last 6 months, our GDP has grown at a rate of 5.4%, making Kenya the 29th fastest growing economy in the world, according to the World Bank. There is no question about it. What we have done together, the price we have paid together, and the sacrifices we have made together have rescued our country from an economic catastrophe. After navigating our ways out of the difficult and complicated debt situation, our second action is to accelerate economic progress, which is the cardinal assignment of our generation. Our human capital, our innovative, smart-working, professional labor force is probably the single most potent arsenal we have to drive our economic progress. Globally, Kenyans have excelled in semi-skilled, skilled, and professional occupations. Our expenditure on training, learning, and education in general is a most appropriate investment in the development of the human capital necessary in our economic progress. Recognizing this, we have increased the total allocation to our education sector by an additional 127 billion this year. Out of this, 46 billion will support the new university funding model that gives equal chance to every child in Kenya to acquire university education. An additional 9 billion to cover our TVET funding model and the hiring of an extra 2,000 tutors necessary for our TVET education. An additional 47 billion to enable TSC, Teacher Service Commission, hire 56,000 new teachers and other interventions, and 24 billion for junior secondary school and to support the construction of additional infrastructure. To cover the chronic classroom deficit in the city of Nairobi, we have undertaken to build 3,500 additional classrooms in the city of Nairobi, with the first 1 billion allocated in this year's budget. And we are going to work with all members of parliament to make sure that the city of Nairobi, the seat of government, and the pride of our nation does not leave any child behind when it comes to education. Agriculture, ladies and gentlemen, plays a central and pivotal role in our economy, contributing to food security, supplying raw materials for our agro-processing and value addition and manufacturing for domestic and export markets, creating jobs and also creating wealth. Only specific, targeted, and deliberate interventions will enhance our agricultural productivity and overall production. This began with the registration of farmers, provision of crop-specific fertilizers, reforms in the tea, coffee, sugarcane, and edible oil sector, provisions of mobile dryers, and other interventions underway across the nation so as to reduce the cost of food, which consumes 56% of household incomes, to reduce by half our food import bill, which today stands at Kenya shillings 500 billion, and also to increase our exports. Further, 400 fresh produce markets, including 20 in the city of Nairobi, 47 county aggregation industrial parks, as well as 6 special economic zones, are under various stages of implementation to enhance value addition, agro-processing, and manufacturing, and also to stimulate economic growth in every part of Kenya. Economic productivity and general well-being are significantly hampered by a population that is prone to ill health. Individual and family medical expenditure drain household incomes and erode family savings, in many cases leading to financial ruin and destitution. Fellow countrymen, our universal health coverage plan seeks a paradigm shift in the provision of healthcare from curative to a largely preventive and promotive approach. Our radical transformative plan has seen the enactment of 4 acts of parliament, which I thank our legislature, as well as the rollout of 100,000 community health promoters, for which I thank all county government for participating. I commend counties who have already paid community health promoters their stipends and commit that the national government will pay our portion beginning the end of this month. The laws we have enacted now provide a framework in the Emergency, Chronic, and Critical Illness Fund that will liberate the people of Kenya from the burden of catastrophic hospital bills in the treatment of conditions like cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and other critical and chronic conditions. Additionally, the new funding model that is fair, equitable, and progressive will see the government of Kenya, for the first time, pay the cost of health insurance for all vulnerable Kenyans who have no ability to pay. Those currently paying 500 will have their contributions reduced, with the least paying Kenya shillings 300. To enhance efficiency and eliminate pilferage in the healthcare system, the new digital law will underpin the digitization of the entire health service delivery framework. For employment and job creation to be at the scale necessary to make a significant dent on our unemployment status and deal effectively with prevailing challenges, our interventions must be ambitious and systematic, consistent and intentional, as well as deliberate and progressive. Kenyans, our housing program is fundamentally a massive, deliberate and systematic job creation mechanism. Apart from the thousands of direct employment opportunities in construction and associated services, the housing scheme directly supports the formal and informal manufacturing of materials, fixtures, fittings, and accessories required in construction. Those employed range from architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, site workers, artisans, fabricators, electricians, plumbers, and many more. The housing program is a bottom-up job creator. There are 33 active housing development sites already employing 120,000 people in various parts of the country. Another 31 sites are undergoing evaluation to begin construction next month. Our strategic focus is to construct hundreds of thousands of housing units while creating millions of jobs across Kenya. Remember, South Korea, Singapore, and Malaysia undertook these major housing works some 40 years ago, and that is why their economies, among many other factors, are ahead of us. I signed into law amendments to the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act, which set out a framework to anchor the development of ICT hubs in each of the 1,450 wards in the country. I salute members of Parliament for the partnership to expand our digital superhighway infrastructure to provide training opportunities and create thousands of digital job opportunities for young people across Kenya. We are also rolling out training and digital job opportunities in our TVETs countywide. Already, 23,000 computers have been distributed, with many students now monetizing their skills online in our TVET institutions. We are also in discussion with county governments to jointly expand vocational training centers to accommodate ICT hub infrastructure so as to enhance the digital jobs footprint across Kenya. The digital job ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen, we are building is an intentional, dynamic, and innovative mechanism to create jobs in the technology and digital space. We have dedicated specific attention to infrastructure development to promote connectivity through a nationwide network of transport and communication infrastructure, actualize the constitutional right to clean and safe water in adequate quantities as enshrined in the Article 43 of the Constitution, and connect all Kenyans to electricity across the country. We have dedicated specific attention to infrastructure development to promote connectivity through a nationwide network of transport and communication infrastructure, actualize the constitutional right to clean and safe water in adequate quantities as enshrined in the Article 43 of the Constitution, and connect all Kenyans to electricity across the country. Our women volleyball and men's rugby teams have qualified for the Paris Olympics in 2024. Our athletes continue to excel at various global events, as is well exemplified by the shining performance in the long and middle distance races. Today, I have conferred upon our world-beating athlete, Faith Kipyegon, the rank and status of Elder of the Order of the Golden Heart, the highest honor our country awards its citizens who illuminate the path of excellence, She has earned her place at the very top, from running barefoot to breaking 2 world records within a year, is the ultimate stage of heroism. Faith's journey is an inspiration to all our young and aspiring athletes. I equally salute Ferdinando Manyala, Mary Moraa, Kevin Kiptum, Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Faith Cherotich, who have also registered their presence in the world stage, and they too will be fitted.